This segment is all about exit planning for your business. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and the segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to lead their fields, educate consumers, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is exit planning advisor Rick Krebs. Rick, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
Rick, tell us a little bit about your work and specifically, who are the types of clients that you work with?
So my work is two things, Mark. The first thing, I do business valuations. All exit planning starts with a good valuation. And so I have a valuation company and we do valuations. I started doing them years ago because people wanted an affordable alternative to, a CVA, for instance, that's going to cost them anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. My valuations start at $500 and go up to $1,500. So they're affordable and they're easy to do. They just supply the information and then a CPA prepares them. The second thing I do is I take businesses to market. I'm in the M&A space, particularly business between the 2 million in enterprise value up to 20 or 30 million in enterprise value. That's our sweet spot, Mark.
Excellent. The business owners are great at growing their businesses, but how much do they know about exit planning? Can you kind of, let us know a little bit more and shine some light on the importance of exit planning and what exactly it is?
Absolutely. I am so sold on exit planning that we started the Utah chapter of Exit Planners. I wrote a book. I've been selling businesses for going on 13 years now. And what we used to do is when people wanted to sell, we'd run a valuation and I'd say, okay, here's your number. And if it wasn't high enough, I would just say, okay, come back to me in 2 or 3 years. Let's stay in touch. When that number hits where you want to be, we'll take you to market. And to be honest, that was not a good way of exit planning. It worked, but it was clumsy. We stumbled through the exit planning process. But now there's a lot more tools. There's a lot more people being involved. I would say it's a revolution across the country, where you have financial planners, you have wealth managers, CPAs, M&A advisors, people that are helping business owners early on to prepare for the exit. And usually it's between 2 and 7 years before an exit is the best time to start exit planning and start thinking about, I call it minding your exit, not blinding your exit. Let's make it right. Let's take the time. Let's get it right. Let's get with the advisory team that you're going to need to make the best exit. You've got one shot to get it right. This is usually the single largest financial transaction of your life. And let's make it a win.
You mentioned M&A. Can you sort of tell us what M&A stands for and define that for us?
Sure. It stands for murders and accusations. No, I joke that that's my podcast is murders and accusations because a lot of times we kill it. A lot of times deals are killed. But M&A stands for mergers and acquisitions. I can't even say it right now after joking, but typically business brokers do transactions 2 million and under in value, and they do a great job. They blast it out, they put it online, list it on multiple sources, and they do a good job with that. Investment bankers typically do 30 million and above, and they do a great job. They run a bid process, they do competitive bidding to bring competition to the market to push the prices up, and then there's that space in between. That's what I would call the mergers and acquisition space between 2 million and 30 million in value. Small potatoes to the bankers, larger than what most brokers do or typically know how to do, a little more sophisticated processes, but right there in the middle.
Terrific. For business owners considering selling their business now or in the near future, what do they need to know that they aren't thinking about that's not quite top of mind? What do they need to know?
Sure. So the first thing is when you start your business, that's the time to start thinking about an exit. It's never too early to plan your exit. I was talking to a business owner the other day and we had just completed his valuation, and he's like, well, do I really want to go through what I need to do to get it ready for an exit? And I'm like, absolutely. And here's why. You may build that business. So business principles used to plan for an exit are solid business principles, period. So you may plan for that exit and build your business to such a point where you're not going to exit, right? Where you just keep it. But the beauty of it is it's a win-win either way. You're going to build such a great business, you want to keep it, or you're going to build such a great business that's going to be better and of higher value to a buyer when you exit and when you sell. It just makes it more attractive. So exit planning principles are solid business principles, and they're going to help you either way.
As you start working with clients, have you spotted any really big common mistakes or pitfalls that they seem to fall into that you can warn people about?
Yeah, there's two or three. The first is one, we've been talking about it. You've got to plan for that exit. We can sell your company. You need to monitor the gas in your tank. I always ask sellers, I'm like, how much gas is in your tank? Are you blinking on empty? Where are your energy levels for the business? Number one, you absolutely don't want to wait until you're totally out of energy to run the business, because businesses tend to go down and it's a different sale and it's typically a lower selling price when you do that. So guard your energy levels, one. And if you're starting to taper a little bit and you're losing energy for the business, now is probably a good time to really start thinking about an exit versus when you're out of gas and you're just done with it and you're motivated, you just kind of give it away. Number two is business owners need to have a team of people. They need to hire an exit planner or an M&A advisor or someone that can help them a few months in advance. The earlier you start, the better it is. And I'm going to repeat that. The earlier business owners start, the better that exit's going to be. Why? Because you have time to plan. We had a company the other day, and they're on a cash basis, right? And typically these companies are starting, and their wife's doing the books at the kitchen table at night, on QuickBooks and so forth. And then, pretty soon they go from 100,000 to $1 million in revenue, and then they're an $8 or $10 million business. But I find that the financial records have not become sophisticated along with the business. And so typically they have some work to do. And it's really hard to go back and do that work. It's much easier to do it moving forward. And so get your financials in order. Make sure your gas isn't blinking on empty, and make sure that you have energy in your tank. And the third thing I would say is to look at your business operationally. Your buyer, I would say, do a valuation. Valuation is going to help you regardless. I mean, it's $800. It's dirt cheap. Get a valuation, a formal valuation done. And that way you can look at the business through the eyes of the buyer. They look at it entirely different than you do. As a business owner, all you're doing, you're trying to pay the bills, trying to keep customers happy, make payroll, for instance, and you're just running the business. So you're working in the business, but not on the business. And so a formal valuation will help you understand those metrics that are going to increase your value. Typically on these valuation engagements, we'll have those aha moments with owners, and it's like, wow, so you mean that for every additional dollar I put towards my EBITDA, I get a 4 times amount on my value? I'm like, absolutely. And then like, wow, maybe I better start focusing on my EBITDA. And you'll have those conversations. Or maybe you're a C corp, and so we can sell those, but it becomes problematic, and because of the double taxations of C corp. So maybe you need to make an S election. So these issues will come up in a formal valuation. You'll have the time which you need to prepare. We try and get ahead of all of these things. And so valuation, gas in your tank, and work on your business, your financials, and your operation to get it ready early on.
Great insight. Rick, what inspired you to get into this field and help business owners with their exit planning? How did you get started?
So with let's start with the selling businesses piece. So I sold a business. I didn't have any help. I got clobbered. We had to get attorneys to get paid. I sold a business the wrong way. That's how I learned. I feel like you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. And so I learned how to do it the wrong way. And I vowed, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to allow people to do that. My clients are going to learn how to do it. We're going to help them do it the right way. And so that's how I got into the business of selling businesses. Now, how I got into the business of exit planning is a little bit different. I just realized a few years ago that clients needed to start earlier to prepare to sell their business. I've been selling businesses for about 8 years or so. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this is working, right? But it's clunky. It needs to be better. I feel like we're leaving money on the table for these buyers or for the sellers. And if you make a $5 million exit compared to an 8 or 9 or $15 million exit, what does that do to their retirement? I mean, it's an entirely different life in retirement for them. So I realized that we could move the needle with this sale. And the way to do that was through exit planning. And so what I did, I wrote a book. And I'm like, I'm going to be an influencer. We're going to help people. It's called Sell Your Business by Design, not by Default, helping business owners become educated about the sales process, what they needed to do, what the pitfalls were, who to hire, that sort of thing. And then the second thing that I did is I started the Utah chapter of Exit Planners, became a certified exit planning advisor. And, we our group is not competitive, it's collaborative. And I'm like, we need to help other people be educated about this, and not just business owners, but business owner advisors, people that work with a lot of different business owners. So I'm big into the becoming certified as CPA, certified exit planning advisor, and becoming part of this group and educating ourselves so we can better educate our clients and prepare them for a better exit.
Before I ask you my last question, in regards to exit planning, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is important to share with business owners today?
Sure. So one thing that I learned recently, I'm going to tell a little story, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I recently learned. So this is a story about a baby rattlesnake. So there was a hiker, and he was going up the hill, and at the bottom of the hill, there was this little baby rattlesnake on the side of the road, and he was all stretched out, and he was just limp. And if you've seen snakes when they're cold, they just don't, they just don't, like, they can't slither, they can't coil. And the little baby rattlesnake was there, and the hiker's like, "Oh, you are so cute. You're a baby." And the baby rattlesnake told the hiker, he's like, "You know what? I am, and I'm cold, and I need to be taken to the top of the mountain. Will you take me to the top of the mountain and set me on a rock in the warm sun so I can feel better and I can get well?" And the hiker thought about it. He said, "You know what? You're a rattlesnake. I don't want to do that." And he said, "Yeah, but I promise I won't bite you." So the hiker carefully picked up this little baby rattlesnake, and he carried him to the top of the mountain. He set him on a rock. And as he set him down on a rock in the sun, the rattlesnake bit him on the hand. And he's like, "Wait a minute, you told me you would not bite me." And he said, "Yes, but you knew what I was when you picked me up." And so to business owners, don't pick up baby rattlesnakes. If you have advisors, and what I'm talking about is I'm talking about someone who might have been an advisor to you for years, but it's time to let them go. It's time to go find the right team. And so I tell you that story because you need to find advisors, CPAs, attorneys, wealth managers, financial planners who align with your values. And, are rattlesnakes important? Yes, they kill mice and they do a very good thing. However, you don't want rattlesnakes on your team. You want people who are going to align with you, who you're going to mesh with. And you're going to have to make some tough decisions. It might mean that you have to fire a CPA or you have to fire an advisor, but get a good advisory team who you can work well with. And we're picking up baby rattlesnakes and move up that trail.
For business owners that are listening that would love to speak with you and even get a hold of your book, how can they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Sure. So the book is designmysale.com. You can find it on Amazon. It's called Sell Your Business by Design, not by Default. That's Design My Sale. For valuations, it's My Biz Value. You just go to the website. You can order your valuation. My phone number is 801-688-2554, or you can email me at rick@bsalesgroup.com. And the M&A business is www.bsalesgroup.com. It's short for businesssalesgroup.com.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
That was Rick Krebs, and this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to lead their fields, educate consumers, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.